Does that look alright?
You look just beautiful.
Does that look alright?
Hello, I'm Michael McGrath. I'm doing my Cert 4. I'm doing this is my coaching section of Plan 2. Here with me with Susan, or Sue, and we're going through NBN Enable Administration. So to be an administrator of NBN Enable for Service Stream. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Sue, for coming and doing this coaching. And we'll go through the basics. And first of all, you feel comfortable, safe, good.
Yeah.
As you said, we're using a computer. We have for fire exits, we have the front door, the side door and the back door. Fire safety pointers across the road, on the other side of the road there. And other than that, occupational health and safety, we've covered all points here. Now, this is the computer program, as you're aware. If you're using Enable as yourself, or a person that's working in the NBN network, you've got your own profile. In that profile has information about yourself and whatever accreditations you have required. The difference between that and an administrator, you don't have to have a profile. In administration level, the manager in charge of training would ask NBN to give you the administration rights, and they would give you a username and password, so you nominate, and when you log on for your first time, they would ask you to update your password, change it of course, and it's always sensible to change it straight away. So that's going through the basics of revision on this piece of software. Now, the main things that you'll find working with this and the differences, here you're working with someone else's information.
Right.
Now, in Enable, to stop any administration person working on someone else's database, because you have the ability to delete somebody. So you can go in here and just, with one click, delete a whole person's profile because you're an administrator. They can retrieve it. It's a long difficult process. But to stop people doing that randomly across all the NBN people, NBN contractors, they've only allowed it to people that work in Service Stream. So contractors that work for Service Stream, and I'll bring one up and just show you how it works. If you click on Workforce, you'll have all the list of all the people. These names are all people that listed under Service Stream. Now, and I'll pick someone at random, and you just put in their name or their Enable number or part of their name, their first name. It just will select anything.
Right.
You can put the email address. There's a whole variety of different ways you can pick and choose. You just put any component that you know of them. Say, for instance, I'll pick myself.
Right.
Now, in here, when it comes up, it shows you the snapshot of them. It shows you their profile, and it gives you information all about them, their name, their address, the email account, their username, all the information, what they can do, what they've been trained in, when it was done. These are information. This is privy to you only.
Right.
The contractors don't see this. And down the end, it is all of their accreditations and what status they're at. So that's what is there for you.
Right.
And up the top, you can see under their information here, it says remove worker.
Oh,
You can click on that and this person is gone.
Yeah.
Therefore, when they log on, they put their Enable number, it'll come up blank. But the only difference here, when I'll click on my details, and you can look up yourself here and look up me, and what it says is primary employer. Yes, correct. Yeah, primary employer. And what that does, it says service stream is my primary employer.
Yes.
Now, as if I'm working as a contractor, if I'm looking at my own, I pick my primary employer and it says it's service stream. I also can have 6 different secondary employers.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So some companies say your primary employer must be us, whoever it may be. Others will go, as long as we're a secondary, we're fine. The main difference you'll find between a primary employer and a secondary employer at administration rights is a primary employer will allow you to edit their details. In other words, you can add or change information about their profile. If they are a secondary, that'll be blanked out.
Okay.
You've got to ask them to change it. Or, which I've done previously, I've asked them, the contractor, to change it, their primary to us.
Yes.
So I could do something and then they could change it back again.
Right.
But that's one of the main problems in the fact that sometimes you might have something where you're doing a large group of contractors and you've got to call them individually and ask them individually to change over. Where if they have us as a primary employer, you can change it yourself.
Right.
And it makes the life a lot easier and faster. Now, there are limitations, and the limitations, as I said, is the fact that a secondary employer you can't alter. Now, one of the main things that people ask you to do is to help them with their program. That what they've done is each one of these each one of these accreditations require them to either do an online assessment and a practical assessment or upload their certificates which marry into theirs. See, if you look here, you've got worker documents.
Right.
So someone could send you their documents, or you could be sent them by the RTOs that have done some training, and you can upload these documents. So you click on, it says upload SOAs or TAFE information, and then you put in their enable number or their name or their ID or their email address. It finds the person, and then you upload whatever qualification against the accreditation.
Right.
So the accreditation says this is what a person can do, and depending on what you've uploaded, it will give them a qualified.
Sure.
So if it doesn't marry up, one of the main factors here, you don't have the information tied together. In other words, the accreditation doesn't marry what you signed in for, and you've got the wrong dates.
Right.
Dates, this is all checked by computer systems in NBN. So when it goes in and it says the information you put in is going to be verified. And verification is not a manual step, it is done by a computer.
Right.
And it scans through and it says, oh, this qualification was done, say, the 6th of February. And on your document, it doesn't have the 6th of February, it might have the 8th of February. It will say declined.
Okay.
And to find out why it's been declined, you can look in a person's information. And to do that, you'd look up upload history. So you can see what's been uploaded against somebody and discover what the reason why they didn't get that qualification.
I see.
And usually it's they put in the wrong date, or they put in the wrong information, or what they put in they haven't associated to accreditation.
Right.
So to get accredited, you've got to have a qualification and you've got to tie them together.
Sure.
Problem is, a lot of the contractors don't read the documentation and really don't understand this database.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're constantly updating it.
Right.
Now, there is an opportunity here, and what the whole system does allows you to download, you can do it daily or multiple times during the day, accreditation report, or there's a whole pile of them, pending status reports, employees status, audit status, reference library reports, and the one that most people use is accreditation reports. And what you'll get there out of that report is, I'll show you a copy of one. Here we are. And this lists
Right.
every person's that's been associated to a prime or a secondary service stream. It gives you your enabler number, the name, the first name, the email address, who their primary employee is, who they've been subcontracted for, what bundles of states, their occupation, their employment, and because it even has people that have been retired
Yes.
or deregistered. And then it goes through. At the moment, accreditation-wise, we start at skills 1 and we go all the way up to skills 35. And then on top of that is all the occupational health and safety. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes on. So at least 20 of those. So there's quite a few things. And what your job is to make sure that when these people go and do any work for Service Stream, they're accredited.
Right.
Now, there's a report comes out every week from Service Stream that says this person did this job and they weren't fully accredited. What you've got to do is identify why they weren't accredited, get onto them and get their accreditation brought up to date. Because there's always someone, what we have, 95 or 99% actually right now, 99% of all people that work on Service Stream work for NBN are accredited. We always have people who are transiting from one type of technology to another. And in that transition, they won't be fully accredited because they're learning and they're working on the job with somebody.
Okay.
So to get them to get that work, we have to transit that point. And then you have to find out when they're going to be accredited, what's going on, what's the status. And that's where you're covering. Sometimes you'll need to talk to Service Stream and go, tell them, explain them what's going on with this person. Or alternatively, you might even recommend that this person have their qualifications removed by Service Stream so they don't appear in this record because they're under training.
Sure.
But also you have the quality to remove somebody so they completely will never get any work for a Service Stream.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite an important position. Now, the assessments. The online assessment and practical assessment. The online assessment, people will log on and look at these assessments and try to do them themselves. What we've done, when you look at somebody and when they're trying to get to an assessment, you are trying to educate them to get through the online assessment. You can't give them the information, but you've got to be supportive with them.
I see. Yep.
All right? But the last thing you want to do is find you're an easy person to ask questions for because you give all the right answers. What you want to do is educate them. Sometimes when you're working with them, you realise they just don't understand this and they need to go and sit a full-time course.
Sure.
So that's when you'll recommend them, I think you need to go and do a full-time course. At the moment, most people get to a point where they go, I really don't understand this. You need to sit a full-time course. Because the assessment is for something they know, not for you to train them up to that standard. You are to go revision and bring them back up to the standard. They should already know this. It's not for you to teach them new things. And primarily, that's your job as the administrator. One, to make sure that the people working, that's the main task, the people working for Service Stream are accredited by NBN.
Right.
And here, this is where you record what's the status, where they are, what's happening with them. And also, you need to be able to use the field supervisors and the field managers to control and manage what's happening with these contractors. Because some of them will try to cheat the system. And some of them literally will have someone else sit there and type in the computer. And you know right well, they're not doing it. Okay. They're getting marvellous scores, but when you interview them and you have them practical, they just can't do the job.
Yeah.
But that's what administration is all about, is controlling it, and making sure the information. Also, you can download all their documents and keep them. As you'll see here, I'll show what I've done here for all the assessments. Every time I've had anybody on come through my organisation, come through us, I keep a student's accreditation details and list all the students.
Oh, I see, yes.
And it's all the records of every time they've had an interaction with me, and here as they are. As you'll see, there's quite a few.
Yes.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And they many and varied. Sometimes just one occasionally. Others, you might see them 30 or 40 times.
Right, okay.
But that's where you've got to keep these records.
Yep.
Because you are the keeper of the information for Surface Stream. They rely on you to do this task. Have you got any questions about it?
No, that all seems fairly straightforward.
Now, what we'll do after this is, well, the best thing, I find the best thing to do the administration, we'll get your administration logons and get you started, and we'll give you some simple tasks and go from there.
Okay. Yes, that sounds
fantastic. Any more questions? You happy?
Yes, that seems very straightforward.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.